What's up, Dragon Brood? So today we are talking about SELESNYA tokens, more particularly +1/+1 tokens, because obviously that's a big mechanic in Core Set 2021, and we had to build a deck around it, because why not? It's aggressive, you can go big, you can go wide, it's got a lot of benefits to it, so definitely want to talk about that. Also, don't forget that I have a giveaway going on. It's going to go for like 3 more days or so from now, so yeah, check out that video. All you got to do is watch through it, fill out a thing that takes like 30 seconds to a minute, and boom, you're eligible. 6 prizes are going to go out. Well, 6 are eligible. We're going to draw 3 names, and people get to pick from those prizes. And remember, if you haven't, like this video, subscribe to the channel so you'll know when I'm putting out my other deck videos this week. But for now, let's go take a look at the deck. Now, let me start by saying that there are a lot of ways you can build this. I mean, there's just a ton of options. So you're probably going to see 10 or 15, 20 different versions over the next week, and that's okay. Matter of fact, all of us are probably going to get cards wrong in the first week, but I'm mostly trying to give you a starting point to build from. But let's just go down the list here. We've got Stonecoil Serpent, 3 copies, and this is just a quality early drop, but also is good late whenever you just get stuck on mana and you need to make a 5/5 or 6/6. It tramples, it has protection from multicolor. I mean, it's possible that if this deck becomes big, with all the different multicolor cards in it, we may need to move to 4 Stonecoil Serpents. We're playing 4 Pelt Collectors. Not much of a surprise other than the fact that, you know, it may not get huge easily, but we do have a lot of ways to keep adding tokens to it. 1 Ozolith. I think I've seen versions that play 3 or 4 of these. I'm not sure if we want to play more, just because you don't want to be drawing these late when you already have one on the table, or drawing these when you need a creature. So we're just trying 1 out right now. We'll see how it goes in the games we play with it during this week. And if it works, maybe we'll increase the numbers. Conclave Mentor is the card that we're all kind of looking at as to why we want to build this deck. It basically says anytime you make a token, a +1/+1 counter, you get to make that many +1. So, you know, if you come out, you play a turn 1 Pelt Collector, you play a Conclave Mentor, that'll put 1 on the Pelt Collector, and then because the Mentor is in play, you'll put 2 on it. So you can attack with the 3/3 Pelt Collector on turn 2, which is pretty nice. Heroic Intervention. I think this card, you're going to see so much of it, you're going to get tired of it. But if you're playing any type of creature deck, honestly, it protects all your permanents. So almost anything with green is probably going to want to play this card. Watley's Raptor, we're playing 4 of those. This is nice just whenever it comes into play, it proliferates. Lets all your stuff get an additional counter, which is nice. And it's a 2/3, so it does block a fair amount of stuff early, especially against the smaller red decks. We're playing main deck Scavenging Ooze. We're playing 4 of those. Again, don't know how strong it's going to be, but might as well at least try it out. It does remove stuff like Uro and whatnot from graveyards, so we'll give it a shot, and it gets counters. Playing 2 Voracious Hydras just as an extra way to have a removal card, you know, and again, late game, you can pump it up big. There's many games I've won with the Hydra where I've just Hydra for 5 and then just double the counters and then attack the next turn. Then we're playing a full set of Knight of Autumns. This is just a good all-around card, right? Especially early on when people are going to want to experiment with a bunch of different commons. I mean, not commons, but enchantments and artifacts. This gives you a chance to remove those. Plus, if you have a Conclave Mentor out, you can actually play this and end up with a 5/4 creature, which is pretty cool. So it just does a lot for this deck. Playing 2 Ajani the Greatheart, or Greathearted, I should say. And Ajani is a card that people forget about, but it's 4 mana, comes 5 loyalty. Creatures you control have vigilance, which is great, especially in creature fights. You can plus them to gain life. You can minus them to put a +1/+1 counter on all your creatures and planeswalkers. So obviously, +1/+1 counters fit perfectly for this deck. And we're playing a full set of Basri's Lieutenant. So the cool part is, between Basri's Lieutenant and the Heroic Intervention, you have a fair amount of protection against removal, board sweepers, things like that. So when a creature dies that has a +1/+1 counter, you actually get to make a 2/2 Knight. Also, it puts a +1/+1 on something when it comes into play. And obviously that plays well with everything else the deck is doing. We're playing 1 Vivian Arcbow Ranger. Truthfully, we could probably get by with an additional one, but don't know really what we do with that just yet. So, and it's kind of hard to cast. It is 3 green. Right now, this list has 4 Castle Garenbrig, which realistically, this should probably be cut back to probably just 3 and a Forest. Though, I mean, we do have stuff like Stonecoil Serpent, Voracious Hydra, so if we do get the Garenbrigs, we can do a lot with it. We did try out some of these things like the Guild Mages Forum. I'm actually going to remove these. So if you do an updated list, these are likely just going to become a Forest, a Plains, and 2 Temples that come into play tapped. Just the green-white Temple. And then the rest are just Temple Garden, 6 Forest, and 6 Plains. So yeah, so the only real changes here, like I said, I would change Castle Garenbrig to a Forest, change these Guild Mages Forums to 2 Temples, 1 Forest, 1 Plains. Otherwise, that's the main deck. Looking over at the sideboard, we have 1 Light of Hope, just kind of a flexible card. It puts a counter on a thing if necessary. It does let you gain life, and it destroys enchantments. So if there's still a bunch of Wilderness Reclamation decks or whatever, it gives you another option. 1 Ozolith, so if you are playing against a lot of removal-heavy decks or something, this can help bail you out. Playing 3 Devout Decree, or actually no, we're playing 4, and that's just what it is. Just remove a black or a red creature or planeswalker. Makes a lot of sense. Playing that extra Heroic Intervention, again, just when you're going against removal heavy decks. We've got 3 Banishing Lights as an additional removal option if you're playing against maybe, say, a bunch of planeswalker decks, something like that. Then you've got Shifting Ceratops. I don't know where the format's going to land, so I do want these on the sideboard just in case there's still a bunch of Yorion decks or a bunch of blue heavy stuff. This would be a good card for that. And then we have a couple of Baneslayer Angels. And this card is good against dragons because there are a couple. Don't know where they're going to land. Also against mono red, things like that. If it survives a turn or 2, that's usually enough to turn the game. But yeah, that's it. That's the deck in a nutshell. I think it's actually pretty cool. I've seen some versions that try to play the Luxodon, but my problem with that is I don't want to be tapping all my creatures down to get that +1/+1. It might be better, truthfully. I don't know, just my personal preference here early on. But who knows? Here in 2 weeks, I might change my tone on that. Otherwise, I kind of like where we got for a starting point here. So if this is your style of deck, try it out. You know, at the end of next week, shoot me a message and let me know how it goes. Also, if there's anything else you'd like to see tried in this list, leave me a comment below and just let me know some other cards to try that I may not have considered. And as a reminder, remember to like this video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you remember or get notified whenever we have other deck videos up this week, because people are looking for lots of info on Core Set 21, and I assume you are too. Well, that's all I have for today. We'll see you next time.